Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the MCDFNL Footy Show for another week, another big show planned this weekend where we have a look back at last week's WorkSafe AFL Country Championships and just a little bit of MCDFNL domination that went on the day. We'll also have a look forward at this week's round 6 of MCDFNL action and what a big week it is going to be. Joining me on the panel today, hang on, you're not Scott Carey.
No,
what's happening here?
Scott's got the sack for the second time.
Scott's got, and this is you giving him the sack. Is it Sammy Gowers? Welcome back.
Thank you, good to be back.
Couldn't be with us last week, mate.
No, I'm sure everyone missed me.
They did. I've had comments. Bloke saying, "Where's Sam? We didn't get his tips." I said, "Didn't matter. It was interleague. He would have only tipped Maryville Castlemaine anyway." So,
yep.
Back in form, mate. I've given you a whole 2 weeks to study up this week now. So, come the tip segment of the show, you need to be spot on.
Perfect score last week.
Must
perfect
admit, you was perfect score last week, so I can't get into him too much. Also joining us today from the Lexington Football Netball Club, one of our senior football representatives from last weekend's WorkSafe AFL Country Championships, Mick Jennings. Mick, welcome to the Footy Show.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully we can get a little bit more out of you than we have out of our previous Lexington football guests this year. Or guest, as it is. Birdie,
Yeah,
hello.
bit.
Let's have a look at last week's game. We'll jump straight into it, mate, because it was a fantastic day for the Maryville Castlemaine District Football Netball League, getting back on the winners list in the interleague ranks. Senior footy boys had a good win, 17-13, 115, defeating the Pecola and District Football Netball League South, 6-10-46. Adrian Conn from Newstead, 4 goals leading the way up forward. We heard Wayne Driscoll say that he was selected to do the bullocking work up forward, and he's obviously done exactly that last week. Nathan Wright's kicked 3, Matty Geary's kicked 3, and then a host of single goal kickers as well. Best players for Maryville Castlemaine District. Adrian Conn from Newstead, best on ground, and also the recipient of the AFL Victoria Country Medal, rewarded by the umpires for the best player on the ground. Matt Geary, Chris Davis, Scotty Sellers, Paul Phillips, and the Shermanator Matt Smith also amongst the best players for Maryville Castlemaine. Mick, talk us through it, mate. What was it like to put that jumper on and run out in an interleague with basically a bunch of blokes that you might have only known for a couple of weeks?
No, it was really good. There was some good feeling with the group. Obviously, as I said, we only had about 6 or 7 sessions to get to know each other, but I think we did that well. There was a good mix of guys from different clubs, and yeah, it was a successful weekend.
Now talk to us about your role in the day, mate. I believe lined up in the back line.
Yeah.
Nothing really shocking there.
Yeah, just part of the back 6, and I think we worked well together with
Yep.
Ramsey, Sellers, Phillips, Phelan.
How did you find, obviously, there's some familiar names in there for you because you work in the back line with Paul Phillips and Jordan Phelan every week. You know their game styles, but you had someone like a Mark Ramsey or a Scotty Sellers into the mix. How did you find yourself gelling with them?
Yeah, really well. There was some good talk there, and I think we gelled well all day.
Talk us through the second quarter of the game, mate. It's really where the game was won. A 7-goal quarter, holding Pecola scoreless, and some of the tricks that the boys turned were pretty good from what I heard.
Yeah, it was started from the midfield. I think a lot of centre clearance work. Big Davo got to the on-ballers, and gave the forwards all opportunities to kick the goals, finish off, which I think if you see, we kicked a few points late in the game, but in the second quarter we did really well.
We talked about Adrian Conn obviously winning the best on ground medal, but I want to talk about Matty Geary because he was fantastic again, kicked 3 goals on the weekend. You had a first-hand display of a Matt Geary show the weekend before where he almost took Harcourt over the line against you boys. Must be handy to be in the same team as him this time around.
Yeah, it definitely was, and I didn't put my hand up to play on him the week before, so I was happy to let the boys do that. And on the weekend he's really good in the air for a small guy, and on the ground level he's that quick and just hurts you on the scoreboard.
Would have been good for Scotty Sellers to get a win, first win of the year for him. The Rovers are struggling a little bit, but he would have been handy to have in the interleague team, I reckon. Yeah,
he's pretty happy to get on the winners list, he told me, and his foot skills obviously his main asset, and we just try to get the ball to him, peeling off half back so he can hit up those kicks.
Yep. Now talk to us a little bit about the lighter side of things. Did we sing a song after the game?
No, didn't actually.
How did it feel to win a game and come in and you don't sing a song, you just mull around and all that kind of stuff?
It was a good feeling though.
Yeah.
Like we all got in together and we had a couple of drinks after the game to celebrate the win.
I heard it might have been more than a couple, given that I was at JD's at about 1 o'clock in the morning and there were a lot of people wearing maroon jackets out at JD's and it was good fun, I must admit. But the bus trip. Is that something where you're playing an interleague game where it kind of really helps, especially on the way up, to bond a little bit with these blokes and really start to form that friendship on the way to the ground? Do you think that's a plus going into an interleague game, having something like that?
Yeah, definitely having the group all on the bus up there. Wayne on the bus got around to everyone, had a chat about what he expected from them on that day, what their roles were. But yeah, it was really good to have them all together, one team, all representing the one league, so it's good.
And a twilight game obviously started at 3:45, I believe it was, 3:45 p.m. and first half played in sunshine, second half played under lights. How did you find that, just with the change?
It wasn't too bad. We used the the red ball to start off and then switched to the yellow ball.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we really dominated when it was a lighter, and then we kind of under lights. I'm not sure if it suited us that well, but yeah, we did okay.
Who impressed you on the weekend, mate? Blokes that you don't see every week that you've just stood back and said, yeah, this guy can take it by the scruff.
Obviously, I know a fair few of the group.
Yep.
But some of that, everyone really, like, can't really put your finger on one sort of person where it stood out, because I've already seen a lot of them.
Seen them all go around before.
Yeah.
Mate, the tougher question, who's best off field? We've got a 3-2-1 for me there. Name and shame, by all means, go for it. That's what this show's all about.
Oh no, there's a few that could get a mention, but it was all a team effort, I think.
I think you're dead right. And there was a bloke, something that was really good form at JD's at about 1 o'clock. Had the same initials as Matt Smith. May have had a similar kind of hair colour and hairstyle, and he was in ripping form by the end of the night. So apparently played a good game as well, and played it on and off.
Did he tell you that he played a good game?
He told me he should have won the medal.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it does not. In
Not
fact,
mentioning any names. Though.
no, Talbot, the same bloke that looked like Matthew Smith was actually walking laps at Talbot's training tonight because he thought he was a little bit too sore to actually partake from any physical drills when they're playing Navarre this week. So you probably need to get out there and do a little bit, Matty. But we'll have a look at the other games as well, of course. The Maryborough Castlemaine District Football Netball League taking on the Ballarat Football League in under-18 football. A 1-point win to the BFL in this one. 10-7-67, defeating an inaccurate MCDFNL 8-18-66. Josh Folks from Newstead, 3 goals, was the only multiple goal kicker for the MCDFNL. Tommy Douglas from Natty, a boy that you probably know fairly well, Sammy, the AFL Victoria Country medalist on the weekend. Other best players, Folks, Gibbs, Mortlock, Hunter and Beavis. Tell us a little bit about Tommy Douglas and what style of footballer he is, mate, because from all reports he was extremely impressive on the weekend.
Yes, he's a very good young player. Tommy plays through the midfield or up forward, pretty quick, very big kick for a young kid, probably about 55 metres, I'd say. The ball
Very good.
to kick it.
Yep.
I think he won our Rising Star last year.
Yep.
And yeah, he'll be a player to watch for sure in the future.
Oh, very good. Let's have a look at the netball results as well. Pretty good day on the netball front as well. Our senior netballers probably didn't see this one coming. 73-25, a mother of all floggings this one was. Fantastic effort by the girls, and Ingrid Hopkins, the coach, also the recipient of the AFL Victoria Country Medal, which means that in the last couple of weeks we've had some footy show guests that have gone on to do some good things. 2 weeks ago, Tommy Rees from Newstead was on the show, came back with 7 the next week. Ingrid Hopkins on the show, best on ground. Looking good for you this week, buddy, against Campbell's Creek later on, mate. You could be on a winner here.
No, I should be right. I'll just do my part.
Yeah, I tell you, you'll be on Media Watch come Sunday morning when the results are read out on 3BA. I'll tell you that right now. 17 under netball, another good win by the MCDFNL. 54-39, Caitlin LaFranchi from Natty Bialaba winning not just the AFL Victoria Country Medal, but also the Simone Mitchell Memorial Interleague Medal, of course, awarded in the memory of Simone Mitchell, of course, former Newstead netballer who tragically was taken from us at the end of last season. So really good game by Caitlin, and it was a clean sweep from Natty in regards to the netball awards on the weekend as well, because whilst the 15 and unders lost to the Pecola District Football Netball League by 1 goal, 43-42, from all reports they were a very nervous side, and it kind of took them 3 quarters to shake off the nerves. Then when they did, it was a 16-5 last quarter, and they very nearly came over the top. But it was Kelsey Long who made her senior debut the week before for Natty, taking home the AFL Victoria Country Medal from that game. So when you consider it, 5 games on the day, 3 of them we won. The 2 that we lost were by 1 point and 1 goal. I reckon that's a pretty successful interleague carnival, Sammy.
On the rise, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see what happens. AFL Victoria Boffin's currently looking at the draw for next year as well. We know that when you get up to the top ranks, it's pretty easy the way that it floats around who plays who. But when you get to the 1920s, 21s, where about the MCDFNL is, it's sometimes not that easy to say, okay, Mid Gippsland's lost on the weekend, so we play them next year, or we play North Central, or whichever way it goes around. So we'll have that in a couple of weeks, and as soon as we know who we're playing in 2014, we will let everybody know. But time to have a look at next week's games, at this week's games even, as I put my teeth back in. It is a kind of an interesting week in the MCDFNL because we've just come off a bye week, we've got a round of footy, and then we've got the Queen's birthday weekend. It's probably a good week for managing injuries in many ways, Mick, because you know that if you've got a guy that hurt himself, he can have 3 weeks off but really only miss 1 game. So it's probably a good management week for coaches to use the time. If players have got niggles or anything like that, they might sit out this week, so they have 3 weeks clear, 4 weeks really in some cases by the time they get to the next game, to help them get through the end of the season.
Yeah, that is a good opportunity to do that sort of stuff, if you can.
If you can, of course.
Yeah. We've been a bit short on numbers like, in the whole group for the last few weeks. So,
yep.
Ruckman didn't play last round, but hopefully he can get up this round.
Yep.
But I don't think injury-wise should be all right for us, and I reckon
very good.
we'll have a full team on the park this week.
Looking forward to it. Indigenous and multicultural round in the MCDFNL this week. Of course, creating awareness and celebrating the fantastic contributions that the multicultural and Indigenous players, not just within the MCDFNL, but within football as a whole, play in bringing such a great game to us. Of course, it's the 20-year anniversary of Nicky Winmar's famous incident where he lifted his jumper, pointed the colour of his skin, and basically told the world in the middle of a football field how proud he is to be an Indigenous Australian. And we salute you, Nicky, and we'll have a look in this week's MCDFNL Advocate feature story with a couple of the boys from the Talbot Football Club, Brendan McRedmond, Darren Burns, and a couple of their young players as well, Tyler Bucks and Mark, that were going forward this week. Have a look at that. It's going to be a pretty good read, I hope anyway, because I'm writing it, so it might be trash, but we'll see how it goes. A full 4-page colour insert in the middle of the record. But let's look at the games this week. Trentham taking on Avoca up at Trentham. And Sammy, you'd think this one would be Avoca's entry back onto the winners list.
Yeah, you'd be thinking so. Trentham struggling big time, still a bit worrying for the Saints, and I think a win for the Bulldogs.
Good signs though. Trentham did get a netball win last week, so it's a little bit of that winning culture back into the club, Mick. But again, you'd think that with those extra couple of weeks for Avoca to get their side up, apparently Murray Bond wasn't far off last week, so you'd imagine he'd be right and ready to go this week.
Yeah, I definitely think Avoca will get over the line in this one. Yeah, Murray will be back soon, but he'll be injured again pretty soon after that. He's been well known to be injury prone, but I dare say Avoca will have a win on that day.
Navarre taking on Talbot up at the Navarre Recreation Reserve this weekend. This could be a pretty good game because Navarre probably didn't show Royal Park the respect that they deserve in the last game. They came in, Daniel Parkin said as much during the week, they came in just expecting to win. They were a bit surprised when Bushy came to play footy. They didn't give him the respect. He said at halftime, switch on because these blokes are fair dinkum. Navarre ran away with it. Might be a bit tougher against the Talbot side that have been pretty impressive this year.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a Talbot fan this year, actually, apart from Matt Smith. But yeah, I can't see him getting over Navarre. I think it'd be just too tough for him. But I think it should be close.
Had a look at your boys play Navarre the other week, and they've just Mick, and they've just got winners on every line, which makes it very, very difficult to try and top them.
Yeah, well, against us, they jumped us in the first quarter and had 6 goals to none. And as you said, they played Royal Park and they didn't have that really good start. But I think in this time, I reckon they'll be all switched on.
Denali taking on the Maryborough Rovers. Now, this game is very, very interesting because these are 2 teams down at the south end of the ladder that haven't tasted a lot of victory this year. And it's probably the first time this year that Denali will go into a game as favourites.
Yeah, good opportunity for either side to score a win, which they both need. I'm actually going to go with Rovers for this one.
Rovers, good work.
Their first win.
Nick?
I'm sure Scotty Sellers would like to see a win, but he might have a sore ankle, so I'm not sure if he'd be up for this one.
So this is what we like, a little bit of insider information.
Just a little bit Instagram action. He was showing off the sore ankle. So,
okay.
But no, I reckon Denali in a close one.
Yeah, that swings it for mine. If Scotty Sellers isn't there, I'd have to swing towards Denali in this one. So We'll wait and see. The side's announced, of course, on Thursday afternoon, so we'll see what happens with that one. Malden taking on Newstead at Malden, and I suppose whilst Malden have been pretty impressive this year, they've got to stop a bit of a juggernaut at the moment. Of course, Newstead, a lot of their key players playing in the interleague game last week, but also Daniel Christmas had a rest. Blokes like Tommy Rees had a rest. Jonty Entwistle had a rest that didn't play, so they're going to be fresh and ready to fire.
Yeah, hard to see Malden getting over the top of them. They're probably the best side I've seen so far this year, Newstead.
Yep, that's a big call too, given how good Carisbrook and Navarre have been this year, Mick.
I haven't seen Carisbrook yet. I'll see him on the weekend.
Good work.
Yeah, I think Newstead will get up convincingly here. Obviously, a few of the boys I played with on the weekend, they were really good. As you said with Christmas, he might, if he's playing, he might have a day out and kick a bag.
And of course, the game that you were just mentioning, Sammy, Carisbrook taking on Natty Bialaba at Carisbrook, as I again try and put my teeth back in. Brook will start favourites in this one, but Natty pretty good in the last round. Mark Fitzgerald up forward getting a bag.
Yeah, Fitzy's back into a bit of form, I suppose you'd say, against Creek. Going to be really tough against Carisbrook. They're obviously a very good side, so yeah, pretty hard to pick this one. Still going to go to the Swans though.
Interesting. Mick, that's the hard overall in the head there, I think.
I think so. He's got a bit ahead of himself.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen Carisbrook play this year, obviously, but we haven't played them yet. But as I've seen the results, I'm pretty sure that Carisbrook should get over the line.
And you had obviously a lot of the Carisbrook boys that you played with on the weekend, guys like Matty Belton, Nathan Wright, Ryan Morgan, that were very good on Saturday as well.
Yeah, exactly right. Nath looked like he's moving pretty well. He'd be a handful up forward
Moving
this
pretty
week.
well at 12:30 in the morning as well, but that's another story for another day. Lexton taking on Campbell's Creek up at Lexton. Mick, straight to you here. We know who you're tipping. Why are you going to beat a Campbell's Creek side that you kind of never know which Creek side's going to show up, and because of that, they're very dangerous?
Yeah, I think we should hopefully have a win. I think we have a good training run this Thursday night. Should be switched on. Probably from the midfield. Hopefully we get one of our midfielders back, Ruckman back.
Colin Polton.
Colin rucked all day last game he played. Timmy Oliver hopefully will come back into the side. I think Nathan Barnes has been off working, so he's going to come back into the side hopefully. But I reckon if we win it from the midfield, I think everything should do the rest. We'll hold down the back line and it'll be right.
Joel Smith, he's played 3 games this year. He's kicked 15 goals in those games. I suppose there's a cloud over him with the injury. He pulled out, unfortunately, it was a late omission from the interleague squad because of an injury. If he does come up, does he float down in your direction? Or do you just kind of handball off and say, Bertie, yours?
Yeah, I'd take whoever I'm told to, like the
When
coach,
you,
really.
when you get games like this, do you put your hand up to play on certain players to give you as a bit of a challenge?
Yeah, well, you like playing on the better players, so
Yep.
it does give you a good challenge for that day, and helps out the team, obviously. But hopefully he comes up, so it's a good game, and I think it should be close, but I'll back us in.
Sammy?
Yeah, I'm going to pick Lexton as well. Mick, I think, just has the natural athleticism to shut down Joel Smith.
Have you ever picked against a side where we've had the guest on this year?
No, they intimidate me.
They do. They intimidate you terribly. I know we were out at Bushy and you tipped them and they lost by 15 goals or something like that. So you just need to work on the bravery a little bit, Sammy. Don't be scared to put it out on the line there if you need to, mate.
Mick's a scary man, so Lexton wins.
Harcourt taking on Royal Park, the last game for this weekend. Another one where Harcourt can't afford to take Bushy lightly because they're showing a lot more form this year than they have in past years. But you'd think with Matt Geary on song at the moment, Harcourt would probably be a little bit too strong.
Yeah, I think it'll be a close one. Bushy's certainly got their tails up, but yeah, Matt Geary might turn it in Harcourt's favour.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely think Harcourt will get up in this one. It's good to see Royal Park actually being really, really competitive this year, and obviously they've had a couple of wins already, which is good to see for the town. I think that Harcourt might get up in this one. As I said, we played them last game.
Yep.
I thought they were really, really good. They were 4 goals down in half time. They really had winners all over the ground. But I reckon the class like Geary, Chappie out of the middle, I think they should be right. Geary for a bag, I think.
Yeah, Harcourt for mine as well. That wraps up another week of MCDFNL action. Mick, thanks for joining us this week, mate. It's been a pleasure to get the extra bit of expert opinion, if you will, on the weekend. So, best of luck this weekend against Creek. We look forward to seeing M. Jennings in the best come this time next week when we're reading results.
Hope so.
And Sam, good work by you, mate. You've stood up strong. You've had some challenges and you've had some questions to answer this week, and I reckon you've done it quite well.
Yeah, well, better than Scott Carey, that's for sure.
That's a big call, and I tell you what, I'm going to have a day soon, Mick, where I'm going to sit the two of them on the show. I'm just going to kind of sit here, introduce the show, and then let them go for 15 minutes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be very, very funny.
Ever seen a Royal Rumble?
Oh, you will.
That's what it's going to be. That's the MCDFNL Footy Show for another week, folks. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next weekend. I was going to say to preview a big round, but there's nothing on next weekend, so we'll review everything that's happening in the MCDFNL. And Sammy, we'll let you have a look at your half-year synopsis of the MCDFNL next weekend.
Look forward to it.
Enjoy your weekend at the footy, and we'll see you next week.